Everyone, this season, don't just watch the games, win them with Pez'sPicks.com. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the man himself.
Thank you, Jeff. This is Pez. After years of giving away our picks on Instagram and beating the house, we've launched Pez's Premium Picks, an exclusive data-based picks based on our algorithm that's hit winners for the last 2 years.
Didn't that algorithm get you over 70% picks right in the NFL last year?
That's right, Jeff. Thank you. No gimmicks, just the pick we believe in. We're using the promo code Lock It Up this week on Pez'sPicks.com. After that, we're asking for a small donation to keep beating the house.
That's right. Use the promo code Lock It Up, all one word, for a free week of access at Pez'sPicks.com. That's Pez'sPicks.com. Check it out today.
Right, let's get this defense over the or underway, shall I say. This was a bad defensive game. What do you want to talk about first on D?
Yeah, let's flip it over to the defense, and I'm going to talk about the Eagles' poor efforts at containing Jackson Dart. I pointed out last week.
Done this all year, haven't we? All year. This defense doesn't do it well.
Yeah, Jackson Dart is a scrambler. He scrambles for 55 yards a game coming into this game, and you have to pay close attention to that. And the Eagles just didn't. And so on this first play, by the way, Ty Robinson, really nice move on the interior here that gets wasted. And I think Jalix Hunt has a nice rush around the edge too, but you walk Zach Bond up to the A-gap and then drop him out, which means that Moro Ojomo has to push the pocket here. So he's on the hash mark. He needs to be crashing inside. Watch his rush path. Look how wide he ends up. And so that's a terrible job by Ojomo, and it really wastes a nice rush rep by both Ty Robinson and Jalix Hunt. Zach Bond gets juked out of his shorts by Jackson Dart, and he's off to the races for a touchdown. Here on this next one, this is going to be, if you watch Jalix Hunt, this is going to be like a fake screen, a pump and go, and he definitely thinks this is an actual screen because he like fully disengages and runs out to the flat, and it just gives you a lane to rush. Now, I'm not going to hate that too much, because if that were a screen pass and he retraces that and makes a great play, I'm calling that a great play. So, but still, it's a pattern in this game that you're just unable to stay home and keep Dart in the pocket. On this one, it's going to be the little read that the Eagles like to run, where you get the tight end pulling across the formation. And to me, I'm teaching my edge rusher to hit the tight end, because if you go over the tight end, the quarterback is going to pull it like Dart does here. If you go under the tight end, they're going to hand it off. I'm saying just hit the tight end and make it a hard read. But he's just not even really involved here, and Dart gets outside. Now, he does recover and tackle him, but it's still like a 6-yard gain. And that's not the only time that we see that in this game. We're going to see it again from Zadarius Smith. May he rest in peace. But first, let's get to Zadarius Smith with a really bad contain. Look at that. Like, what are you doing against a mobile quarterback? Why are you just like halfway throwing a spin move against a bad right tackle and giving him an easy escape lane? Just really bad. 3rd and 3, gets the first down. And then we get Zadarius Smith again off of the left side of the screen. And this time it's going to be him that should be hitting this tight end that comes across the formation here.
Yeah, to be fair, he was on the beach. That guy.
Yeah,
that guy did not want to take on pulling guards this week. He was done.
That's not a guard, though. It's a tight end.
He's
Go
done.
light
He
him
retired
up.
a day later. Or a few days later. The man was finished. Sorry.
But yeah, the Eagles just did a really bad job containing the quarterback in this game. And it's something we talked about last week that they needed to pay a lot of attention to, and they just didn't, and it cost them.
I hit it on the preview. Big time with Dart. Big time. I'm going to do my first point, which links to yours nicely. This is the first game I've watched for the Eagles in a long time where they have been completely bullied at the line of scrimmage. They were out-physicaled. And out-physicaled, is that a word?
Sure.
They were physically dominated. They were physically inferior in so many reps in the second half. And Fangio, Shane, was bringing 6-man fronts, 4 defensive tackles. That's why Byron Young played a godly amount of snaps. They just got bullied for line of scrimmage. And Jalen Carr will make a difference. Nolan Smith will make a difference. Don't care how good your scheme is. Don't care how good your secondary is. Don't care how good Cooper DeJean is. Quinion Mitchell is. You don't win if you get bullied in this league that badly. They got beaten up by a Giants team, which was quite scary to see. and that's something we need to watch out for. So I've got a lot of examples I could show, honestly. I'll show a few very quickly. Play 8, I always like it when we can look smart. So we both mentioned how the Eagles get killed by outside runs from condensed looks, and guess what? They got killed by an outside run from condensed look. Look at Andrew Mukuba here, take on the tight end. Gets taken for an absolute ride. Look at Cam Scatterbo and Zach Bourne. We love Zach Bourne on this podcast. We know how good he is. But to get our physicals, Mukuba is a little bit embarrassing there. Bourne gets sent. Like, we can laugh at Scatterbo, and yeah, the taking off the shirt and stuff's a little bit cheesy, but they physically outdone the Eagles. There was this play, then plays 10 and 11, just back to back. Like, they're rough. This is just end of game, under center, full back. We're going to hit you. Byron Young ends up on the floor. Campbell doesn't make it. They're hitting guys. Mukuba gets taken for a spin again by a tight end. He's going to come up in a separate point of mine. And then play 11, I think, is even worse because Mukuba gets a free shot on Scatterbo. And it's just like, get off me. Like, guys are moved once again here at the line of scrimmage. 94 again. 90, Jordan Davis moved. Mukuba doesn't really want anything to do with that. Adoree Jackson on the goal line had a play.
Can you please put your arm around the dude instead of throwing your back into
it? Yeah,
him?
we said about injuries, man. I don't know you can live like that at his weight. Adoree Jackson had a snap in the red zone, also in the goal line, where he didn't want to really tackle him. They got out physical, as I mentioned, and
I would have considered cutting Adoree Jackson after that play to send a message.
That's
good. That's indefensible.
Yeah,
and now he's apparently going to start this week.
And the thing is, they haven't got many. If Quignon's out, Shane, what are they going to do if they cut him? They haven't really got anyone. But it's very rare for the Eagles to see that. They build in the trenches over years, and there's only so much you can do as a schematic guy. It doesn't matter how good Fangio is. If you lose a line of scrimmage that badly, you will lose a lot of football games. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. Let me go to my second point then. So you mentioned Zadarius Smith retires after this game. Comes ring chasing in Philly, and after 4 weeks, he's like, I am out. I'm going to the beach. And you could tell watching this game. I don't know. Like, his snap count was so low. Like, did he know he was retiring before this game? And the Eagles were like, come on, Jalen Carter's out. Just play 20 snaps for us.
Patrick Robinson played more than him.
Yeah. So is it an injury thing that, like, he just doesn't want to rehab through to be able to play? I don't know, and I'm not going to try to speculate, but it's certainly weird. So let me preemptively give you a definitive answer to the question that everybody is going to ask, which is, can they move Jihaad Campbell to edge and play Nakobe Dean at off-ball linebacker?
No.
And the answer is a resounding heck no. And so, first of all, Jonny, what is the strength of Jihaad Campbell?
Playing in coverage.
Playing in coverage. Yeah. What's his weakness?
Probably pass rushing at the moment, or playing downhill quickly.
Run defense. So yeah, let's not make him an edge. Just saying. But
what I love, Shane, is the fact we don't talk before these podcasts, and I knew exactly where you're going to go. It'd be quite funny if you were like, "Oh, I was going to say yes." I'd be like, "Oh, that's awkward."
I should have done that. I'm going to change it up on you one time, but the film don't lie, as they say. So. Here we go. We've got Jihaad Campbell lined up as an edge on the right side of the screen. Number 82 is a tight end. And I just want you to see how stonewalled he is by this tight end in the past game.
Yeah, it's bad.
So that's not an edge rusher. Well, Bryce Huff maybe, but that's not an edge rusher. But also, let's talk about run defense, because now here he is on the right side of the screen. And again, this is a tight end. Watch him get washed out by a tight end in the run game right here. He cannot set the edge in the run game. He can't rush from the edge.
Which has been a problem all year long, setting the edge in the run game.
And perhaps this one's unfair, but I was just searching my timeline for reps of him at edge, and this is back from the Cowboys game when he was the edge. Watch him take on this puller. And I will admit he's improved a lot against the run since then, but he's just not physical enough to play on the edge. And so,
do you know a random thought I had watching this game was, it's almost weird, but we don't really do the Zach Ball and dropping down into edge anymore. We use Campbell a little bit more. I mean, there's a part of me that feels like, we might go back to what we did before. Like, I wonder if it's almost like tempting because Bourne's so good in coverage that you're like, do it with Campbell because the offense isn't expecting it. But sometimes, like, versatility can be a bad thing, and this is not Campbell's fault. But I almost wonder if, like, we'd be better if he couldn't do it, because they have to use Bourne at it. Yeah, it's a tricky one. But yeah, no, he's not playing edge.
No, he's not. And also, once Nolan Smith's back, I still think you might be fine. You're going to have Nolan Smith. I'll get into this in my next point. Actually, I'm just going to do my next point right now.
Do it.
Two. I'll tie them together. So my third point was how to fix the defense. And I'll be honest, the defense is less concerning to me. Thursday night was embarrassing, and they got out physical like you talked about, and that sucks.
Just quickly, Shane, look at the talent by the end of the game. You had no Jalen Carter, no Quinyon Mitchell. Like, no Jalen Carter, no Quinyon Mitchell. Do you look at the players they had out there? A secondary with Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo, Reed Blankenship, and Andrew Mukuba. Like, they're not going to be that good, whoever the DC is.
Right.
We said this in the offseason. They lost so many guys on defense. People laughed at Slay, getting old, still very good. I know Jordan Gardner-Johnson's an idiot, but can play. He's better than Mukuba right now, which might be controversial, I don't know, but he's obviously more of an idiot, and I don't want him back.
By the way, he just
really
got
good.
cut by the Ravens.
Yeah, he did, because he's an idiot. And Milton Williams and Josh Sweat are, like, really good. And they're playing really well on their new teams. So they just didn't have the talent, but sorry, finish.
Yeah, we do the thing where it's like, last year everybody's like, Milton Williams is awesome, the Eagles should pay him, and as soon as he gets paid, they're like, oh, he wasn't that good. It was all Jalen Carter.
JMO's better anyway, yeah.
And he's third in defensive tackle pass rush win rate this year. Josh Sweat is fourth at edge rush pass rush win rate, and so they lost some talent. And by the end of that game, well, really by the end of the first quarter of that game, two of your best three defensive players are sidelined with an injury. Now, that's not an excuse, because the Giants were calling up practice squad receivers in this game. And so it was a pathetic performance, but getting out physical does happen. Anybody that's played team sports, you've been in a game where it just doesn't go your way for whatever reason. And there can be a lot of reasons for that. Short week, road, your stars are banged up, whatever. I trust Fangio to bring that back and to hold guys accountable. That's going to get fixed. Other things you need to do on Andrew Mukuba's got to stop busting coverages. He's been terrible. And I think you keep playing him because he's a rookie and he's playing probably the most difficult position in a really complicated defense. And his issues aren't related to effort. It's mental lapses. It's coverage busts. But he's got to play smarter. And I think reps helps that. That's why I don't think you would bench him. Not to mention that would mean you're putting Sidney Brown on the field instead. But I would expect him to get better as the season goes along. And then when you talk about CB2, you can hide a bad cornerback too between Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. You just got to have Quinyon Mitchell healthy, and maybe he won't be on Sunday. He's, I think, questionable right now. But then we talk about the defensive line. And you might need an edge now that now that Zadarius Smith retired. You might for depth purposes, but once Nolan is back, you have Nolan Smith, you have Jalix Hunt, you have Josh Uche, you have Azeez Ojulari. Like, that's fine. Nolan Smith is got some upside. The other three guys are like solid 6 out of 10 guys. You're probably not getting a better guy unless you swing big, which I don't know that the Eagles are going to do. But I think they need a defensive tackle. Byron Young is averaging almost 20 snaps a game, and he's virtually unplayable. And so they need to flip a day 3 pick for a defensive tackle. And then beyond that, I think they just need to let Fangio keep adjusting. And I do think the defense is going to be fine. It's not going to be what it was last year. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean gave an unrealistic expectation to Eagles fans for what rookies will come into a defense and do. And we're seeing with Jihaad Campbell and Andrew Mukuba the growing pains from rookies. And Jihaad Campbell, I think, has been pretty good. It was a rough game on Thursday, but I think he's been pretty good. There's just some things he struggles with. Andrew Mukuba struggled a lot. And I think those guys are going to get better. And so how you fix the defense, to me, there's one personnel move that needs to be made, and that's getting someone better than Byron Young to take his snaps. Other than that, I trust Fangio to figure out the defensive rotations and things.
Yeah, that leaves it to me to end on a lovely negative note. But you nailed it. And I want to talk a little bit about two things. And I'm going to be quick because, as always, we're going to be under an hour, which is good because we are actually making it a thing this year because we've got so much stuff on Patreon to get to, which is awesome. And I need to go and watch the Vikings so I can watch a very different offense and a very different offensive coordinator. I'm going to talk about Mukuba, first of all. I don't want to pick on a rookie. I have no interest in picking on a rookie. None of this is personal. None of this means his career's done. I didn't think he was worth the second-round pick, personally. I think he was my safety 4. There were guys I liked ahead. I was surprised they did it. But I felt the one thing they were going to get was they were going to get a guy who was really good in coverage. I've already showed him in run defense. You can see that. I've heard people say he's good in run defense, and I disagree. He's good when he's not blocked. He's really good at getting downhill quickly. When he's blocked, he's bad. But the coverage stuff, Shane, is a little bit weird. And I know he's a rookie and people just get better. So, like, he could be brilliant in 6 months, in 6 weeks, in 6 days. And I also know that Fangio's system is complicated, but he has a real issue. And I know the coaches will be on him for it. And Fangio has spoken about it in press conferences because Fangio doesn't hold back. His understanding of, like, routes in his vicinity are really weird. So if you look at play 9, I'm sure you remember this play live because the announcers were absolutely loving Dart's throw with a free rush, which, to give him his credit, it's a really good ball. Like, it's a really good throw. But I assumed live, right? Mukuba's in man coverage, he just got beat. And I'm assuming you thought the same as well, because the TV copy we had, it looked like a classic, oh, well, he got beat. But I don't know how much you watched this play, but he doesn't get beat. He tries to jump the other guy's route. And this is something he did literally, 2 weeks ago against the Bucks, and gave up a long touchdown because of it. He is desperately trying. Does he want to pick 6? Does he want to be the hero? You could talk about Fangio's scheme is complicated. That's just like instincts. That's not scheme. That's not you're being asked to play tricks coverage and they're running trips other side and you're confused. You know, like they had the one, who was it? Was it against Washington? The down the field shot when we spent about 10 minutes saying who actually was at fault for this. Can you remember the play I'm talking about? When, like, was it Quinion? Was it Blankenship?
Yeah.
Was it Mukuba? This isn't that. Look at how he plays this. He sees Dart's eyes. If you pause it before the ball is thrown, he jumps on the tight end. He's going after Zach Blount or Cooper DeJean, whatever it was. He's going to one of their men. He's not worrying about his own guy. It's so weird. I'm pretty sure they're in man coverage here, and he has a guy one-on-one, and he just doesn't cover him because he's trying to jump another route. Like, at what point do you just... And I put this, do your own job? Like, stop worrying about intercepting something. It's a really weird rep, and I watched it a lot because I was like, am I being mean? Is he trying to jump the other route, or is he trying to get in front of the receiver? And the more I watched it, I don't know if you disagree with me, but I genuinely think he's trying to jump the slant rather than cover his own guy.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
It really does look like him, doesn't it? I was like, am I... And this is not a one-off. So forget the run defense stuff. He got bullied by Scatterbo. He got bullied by tight ends in this game multiple times. The coverage stuff's not good either. This was a really, really negative game from Mukuba. And we mentioned about the Eagles having a window earlier on. I wouldn't bench him yet, but I wouldn't consider his starting spot guaranteed for the next month. I think if you think you can play Marcus Epps and you can get a 5 out of 10 every week who just does the right thing, even from his career point of view, you might want to sit him down. And final thing I mentioned, which ties into all of your points perfectly, quite simply the pass rush is a disaster right now. This was the worst I've ever seen the Eagles pass rush under Fangio, I think. They can do anything from a 4-man pass rush. I'm surprised Ty Robinson didn't play more, because to me he looks like he has juice. Jadix Hunt is not developing what we wanted as a pass rusher, and I think we have to remember he was the rawest of raw third-round picks as a former safety, and now they're asking him to be the guy at edge, which is not fair. Without Jalen Carter, suddenly Ajomo's getting doubled. Jordan Davis has never been a great pass rusher, and he's playing like 40 snaps a game, for God's sake. I'll just show one play that sort of summed it up to me. It was play 4, and everyone picked on Ringo for this one because his guy's wide open, and yes, he doesn't touch the guy down, which is an absolute joke. But count how long Jackson Dart has to throw this ball. When you're covering an in-breaking route from cover 3, there's nothing Ringo can do. Once the guy has got inside him past the linebackers, you can literally count it out. I think Dart is holding this ball for about 5 seconds, 4 seconds maybe, but it's so easy. And it's just one example of Dart got comfortable because the pass rush wasn't there. And I think if the Eagles want to compete this year, they have 2 things that can happen, Shane. Jalen Carter can go God mode. He can go complete freak, wreck game plans, that good. Not Aaron Donald, but not that far off, which we've seen before, and that will save their pass rush because he'll get doubled. All of a sudden, everyone else will get individual matchups. The other thing they can do is they can go out and get someone else. And I don't know if they'll be able to get anyone good, but that's the other thing they can do. I think there's two things. If Jalen Carter doesn't become God and they don't get anyone else, the pass rush is not going to be good enough this year. Doesn't mean the defense will be terrible, because schematically they're very good. Fangio can bring pressure in other ways, but it's really hard to do it successfully without a 4-man pass rush winning. So at some point, we could talk about the secondary. We could talk about cornerback 2. We could talk about Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo. I would prioritise pass rush over cornerback 2. And overall, I would like to say apologies for how depressing some of that was this week. But I watched the Giants get hammered by the Saints badly. They are not a good football team, despite what people are now saying. I watched their receivers, Shane, against the Saints and the previous 2 weeks, and I called them unplayable. Like Lil Jordan Humphrey, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, these guys are unplayable. They lost 34-17.
The Saints put up more points on the Giants than the Eagles did.
We deserve to be negative. They were 1 of 9 on third down, the Eagles. They got hammered in Cam Scatterboo's taking off his shirt off the field with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Jackson Dart is like headbutting him, and I meant to enjoy watching this. It was a bad game, and sometimes you've got to take it on the chin. The Yakko commented, how do British fans deal with bad sports? There is a hell of a strong pub culture. Beer becomes liquor. And to be honest, Yakko, I would say we're more angry. I would say most of the analysis actually of the Eagles is pretty measured. I think English football fans at this point would be abusing players more, and there'd be team buses getting booed. I think the Eagles have got a lot of street cred, a lot of good stuff in the bank because of how they won the Super Bowl last year. So hello, they're going to be popular. But I don't think we're far off breaking point, personally. They need to do something, and they need to change it, and it needs to be pretty quick, because if not, they're going to get beat badly this week by the Vikings, because the Vikings are a very good football team. And then they're going to play the Giants again. And if they get beat by the Giants at the Link, that will be wheels falling off time.
It's wheels falling off time if they lose to the Vikings this week.
See, I would say the Vikings are a really good team. So if they play them well, I don't think it is. Depends who starts with the Vikings. If Carson Wentz beats them, then yeah. Carson Wentz, who might start, because I think they actually like him more than JJ McCarthy for now, which is quite funny. I'm really looking forward to doing my deep dive today.
Yeah, I really hope JJ McCarthy plays, because I've seen him play and it's bad.
I really want to watch Carson Wentz in the film room this week. I'm really excited to watch it. So I'm ready to finish this and get into Patreon and start watching it.
All right. Well, that is going to do it, folks. Hopefully, I said this on the postgame show, but I thought the worst possible outcome was the Eagles just lighting up the Giants, who doggedly played cover one man and thinking everything was fixed. That obviously did not happen. They got blown out by the Giants, and hopefully that is the type of loss that makes you take a hard look in the mirror and the Eagles come out with something different against the Vikings. But we'll see. And regardless of that result, the outcome on Sunday, we'll be here next week breaking it down, probably back on Wednesday at our normal time. If you would like more content like this, please be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Eagles Film Room. Just this week, I have posted a player spotlight on Jalix Hunt, watching all 41 of his defensive snaps. Today I posted my pass game review, which was about 40 minutes, and I went into a lot of how you can improve some of these basic concepts. Jonny is about to get on a Vikings preview. Eric will have an article out later this week, and so tons of great content there for you guys to check out. Patreon.com/Eagles Film Room. And other than that, we will catch you guys next week for another episode of On the Shane Page. Stay tuned and go Birds.